Hi, this is Ranjan Majumder. In my previous video, I have explained the fundamental of HTML. Today I am going to explain the attributes of HTML. Let's start the interesting subject of HTML, that is called global attribute. There are 14 global attributes in HTML. These are access key, class, content editable, data star, dir, draggable, hidden, id, lang, spellcheck, style, tabindex, title, and translate. So I am going to define each and every global attribute one by one. The first step is to create, I am creating a folder on desktop and giving the now I am writing down CMD. CMD comment is used to open command group. Now you can see the exact path HTML folder. Here I am writing code star, code dot, code space dot. Code space dot is basically used to open Visual Studio Editor. So in my previous video I have explained that three editors are three editors. You can use three editor, Notepad++, Sublime Text, and Visual Studio Code to write down the code of HTML. So in this case I am using Visual Studio Editor because Visual Studio Editor is very handy and very useful to write down code of HTML. This is a HTML folder. Section is new file. If you want to create a new file, you have to click on this section, and this is new folder. I am clicking on. I am writing index.html. So the first global attribute name is access key dot exclamation sign. I am using exclamation sign. It is called emit abbreviation in Visual Studio. If you enter, it will show a basic template of HTML, which starts from HTML and ends with HTML. In my previous video, I have explained that most of the stack start and it will end with slash HTML and lang en. Lang en means language in English. Later I will discuss the basic definition of lang, where will you use lang attribute. So this is tag. HTML is a tag and lang is an attribute. Here in basic template you can see HTML start, head close, body close, and there are multiple meta tag is used to basically used for search engine. Meta tag is used for search engine. You can write down anything, and according to the content or to the keyword, the search engine will search your web page. That is the reason meta tag is used. And title is used within head tag, and you can use script tag, style tag within head. Later I will discuss it. And body close. Now I am going to define access key. At first you have to know what is access key. Access key basically is a way to create a shortcut key by which you can open a link. I am using an anchor tag, href equals to, suppose this is a video. If I want to open the link using access key, I am copying the URL and I am pasting it here. Accesskey. Using the alphabet, I am trying to open the link. YouTube video. So this is the link. So using the alphabet, I am trying to open the link. So what is the function of access? Accesskey is an attribute by which, using an alphabet, a user can open a link. Now I am saving it. To open the link, a user should press Alt H. Alt plus H is used to open the link. Or Microsoft Edge, we use Alt. In Mozilla Firefox, we use Alt plus C. Now I am going to describe two global attributes. These are ID and class. So ID and class are vastly used for identification purpose. So what is ID? Suppose my PAN number is XYZ1234. So using this PAN number, one can identify me from others. And this PAN number is unique. The ID of an element of an HTML page must be unique. But class might not be unique. Why? If you assume human beings are, then all have two eyes, 2 ears, one nose. That's mean to define common characteristics, we use class. ID and class both are used in SCSS and JavaScript. So what is the difference between ID and class? ID must be unique, whereas class must not be unique. Class basically shows the generalized concept. What is generalized concept? Generalized concept means generalized characteristics. If a user or a web designer wants to add a special after characteristic defined by class, then ID is essential. So ID and class are vastly used according to our demand. We can use both ID and class in an HTML tag as per our requirement. Now I am going to describe the entire thing using practical. In my previous video, I have explained P tag. Now I am using P ID. My name is Rama and I am writing here Rama. Rama is my nickname. And I am copying and pasting it. I am using Prosen. Here I am using Ranjan. They are my close friends. That is the reason I have defined here. So you can see in this HTML page, Prosen is unique. I have not declared the same name to anywhere. Rajesh is unique and Rana is unique. So a user or a web developer cannot use the same name or same ID for multiple tag or multiple element. The ID should be unique. But look at the class. Class is human. In all cases, class is human. So what is the meaning of class? Class shows the basically general characteristics. So it is basically generalized form. If you want to add some special characteristic after the characteristic defined by class, then you have to add ID. Using ID, a user or a web developer can add special characteristics. So later I will discuss how can you add a special characteristic. So this is the output. You can see Rama. If I inspect it, you can see the ID is Rama, class is human. At present, you are not getting any effect. At the completion of entire tutorial, you will be aware about the idea in class. Now I am going to discuss the function of content editable attribute, which is a global attribute. Before that, you have to understand the function of element or the concept of element. Mainly I will discuss three elements: one, block level element; two, inline element; and three, form input element. I am explaining you the concept of element using an example. At first I am writing div. This is a div tag. You can see div open tag and div close tag. Within this I am writing, suppose my name is Ranjan Majumder. I have already said whatever you write within start tag, I have already discussed, this is mainly a tag, div tag, div start tag and div close tag. Whatever a user or a web page developer write within called content. So here my name is Ranjan Majumder is the content, and entirely it is called a div element. If I write the same way p tag and the content is I like to play, by the same way this is p tag, p start tag, p end tag or closing tag, and this is the content, and entirely it is called a p element. So here I have written two elements, one is div element, another one is p element. I am saving it and showing the output. You can see there is a line between div element and p element, and there is also a line between div element and p element. So that is the reason it is called block level element. If I write the same thing, input type text, value equals to I like to play card, and size equals to 50. Here you can see type, this is an form input element and type is text. So you can see this is a form input element with type text. Here type is an attribute, value and size also are attributes. So the value is I like to play card. The value of this form input element is I like to play card, and size is 50. Refreshing the web page, you can see. Why do I use this text box? Because in this text box I can edit the value. If I write I like, so using the form input element, a user or a web page developer can edit the content. By the same way, he or she can delete the content also. But you can see in this section, a user and a web page developer cannot edit the content of a div and also of a p. So how can we edit? For that reason, we can use the content editable attribute. By default, the content editable attribute of any element is false. If I use true for content editable, then we can edit the content of any attribute. Because in this case, you don't need to write content editable attribute because it is already editable. So that's means form input element is already editable. So you don't need to use content editable attribute here. But if you want to edit the content of div or p, that means block level element or inline element, you can use content level editor. There are two values of content level, content editable attribute. One is true, another one is false. Suppose I am writing here, in case of div, content editable equals to true. I have already said by default value of content editable is false, and in this case I am writing content editable equals to true. Now I am saving it. I am refreshing the web page. Now you can see. That means I can edit the content even at the middle also. And in this case, I can also edit the content. So that is the facility of content editable. Content editable is a global attribute. Using content editable, a user or web page developer can edit the content of an element, but you don't need to use content editable attribute in form input element whose type is text. So if you use content editable equals to false, then you cannot, if I refresh it, you cannot edit the content. So this is the funda of content editable. But before that, but at the beginning I said that I will discuss three elements. One is block level element, two is inline element, and three is form input element. You can see here I have used form input element and block level element. Why it is called block level element? Actually block level element begins on new line. You can see there is a space, there is a new line before the div element, and after the div element there is also a new line before the p element, after the p element. And you must remember, in case of block level element, that means a block level element can hold inline element as well as block level element. What is the meaning of this? Block level element, suppose this is the block level element, I can write level element here. If I erase the content, why do I erase the content? Because in previous case the erase of my name is Ranjan Majumder, but in this case I am using another div. That means it is the content of the outer div. So I don't need to write the text my name is Ranjan Majumder. So I can use another div here. Suppose I write my name is Ranjan Majumder. If I refresh, I will get the same effect. So I have already said that a block level element can hold another block level elements or multiple block level elements as well as inline element. So what is inline element? Span is used for inline element. Suppose I am writing span mathematics is my favorite subject. Now I am saving it and refreshing it. Just at the output. Why it is showing mathematics is my favorite subject? Because I have written inline element within the div. After the div. I have written the span element after the div. Whatever I said, in case of block line element, it will give an extra line. Here div, I have used div, so it has given an extra line before and after. But if I write the same thing, I am saving it, I am refreshing it. Look, the mathematics is my favorite subject. I have used this text within span, so it is showing on same line. But if I use div, instead of span, it will come to next line. I am saving it and it will just come to next line. So what is the basic difference between block level element and inline? Begins on new line, whereas inline element start anywhere of a line. So this concept is applicable in web page designing. You have to keep the concept in your mind, otherwise you cannot get the exact output. So these are the three elements I have described in this place. One is block level element, which begins on new line. Second is inline element, which start anywhere of a line. Here span and closing the span, which starts anywhere of a line. So it is showing on the same line, the output is showing on the same line. And third one is input, form input element. So form input element, here I have used type text, so this can be editable. I am erasing this portion, Ctrl X, and I am pasting here. If you want to edit the section, you cannot edit because there is no content editable attribute. I am saving it. If I refresh it, you cannot edit the content because we all know that by default content editable attribute value is false. Now if I write content editable equals to true, then we can edit the span. But must remember, in case of content, if we use content editable as true in div section, it will take entire width of a page. But if I use content editable equals to true for a span, it will take only that portion where content fit.